It's been a while, but the legend is back. Not me. Well, I think I am a legend in some ways, but that's not the point here. Okay? We started this podcast 2009. Okay? I don't know if I'm considered an OG, especially since I've never got famous off of this. But me and you, James, started Idiot Sports Talk in 2009, and we're back 2022. Feels good. And if you don't know Idiot Sports Talk, you'll discover today in the new revamped, the reintroduction into us. My name is Ezra, also known as Idiot Ezra, and I'm joined today, the original host of Idiot Sports Talk, James. What's up, my boy?
How you doing, good people?
Feels
Ready
good to
to
be
get it
back.
in.
We
Oh
get
yeah.
back to some sports, and today we're going to be talking some NFL, a lot of NFL. You know, it's never off season. It's never, NFL news is always a hot topic, and it feels good, especially for losing teams, because that's the only thing we have looking forward to. And if you don't know me, I'm a Jets fan, and every offseason is the only time I get to enjoy the offseason. Not really, because sometimes I get pissed off, like last offseason. Well, we didn't get the fucking first number one pick to get Trevor Lawrence. Okay, I'm supposed to be happy with Zach Wilson. Okay, all right, I am. Okay, New Zach City, he's still going to be a beast. I have no choice but to have hope. But that's what we're going to be getting
So
into today.
abused.
So since I don't
All Jet
have,
fans are abused.
and you know what, emotion, you know what, yeah, we are, and I think I'm going to get into them. I may have a rant this episode about my Jets, because when is it not appropriate to have a rant against my Jets? We've deserved it. We haven't gone to the playoffs for 11 straight years. So, every other day I should have a rant, and it shouldn't be held against me. But let me rip off my other podcast intro music, because we don't have one yet for Idiot Sports Talk, but that's going to be a work in progress. There's a lot of things we're going to be work in progress, and it's going to be for you guys, and we want you guys that listen to Idiot Sports Talk to join us on the live stream, Twitch, for your dialogue, and maybe we're going to have future call-in shows. We want to incorporate this throughout Twitch and other avenues on the web and social media, so we can connect and have our opinions out there, because in the sports world, we all have opinions. So let's get it on the show. At the same time, while I press the intro, I get a phone call, you know what I mean, from my other co-host from Idiot Ezra, Marvin, talking about, I'm a snacker just because, I'm doing a podcast with my boy right here, James, which also know Marvin for quite too long.
I feel him every day.
You feel him every day, I know. And
Even if I don't talk to him, I can always feel him. I know he's around. I sense his presence.
all right, I know we're a couple weeks post the Super Bowl, all right? But let's talk about the Super Bowl win, what it means for Matthew Stafford. And I've seen a lot of dialogue. I've been saying this for years because, I'll be ahead of the time, baby. That's what I do. Matthew Stafford. There's been dialogue about him winning the Super Bowl, what it means. Is he a Hall of Famer now? And what this does for his legacy winning the Super Bowl? So I'm going to ask you right off rip, do you think he's a Hall of Famer? You think this Super Bowl win solidifies him as a gold jacket?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think he was there was when he was drafted, they were talking about him being like like a prodigy, you know, prodigy QB, and he lived up to his standards, and I think Calvin Johnson helped a lot with that. The years they both played together, it's like one of the top five receivers the NFL has ever seen. So I think with this Super Bowl win, with all the pressure that they put on him with the draft, what he got traded for, which was an enormous load, from the uh, f- from the Rams to the Detroit Lions. I think with all that pressure on him to win a Super Bowl, not just make the playoffs, yeah, this solidifies him as a Hall of Famer.
Um, I'm with Richard Sherman on this, and I said this before Richard Sherman. I don't believe he's a Hall of Famer. Now, does this Super Bowl win give him, give him an ammunition? Of course it does. Is he going to have the numbers? This was my argument before he won the Super Bowl. Yes, he's going to have the numbers. He's going to be top 5 in yards, touchdown. He's going to be top 10, top 5 in a lot of statistics when it comes to the QB, But when it comes to numbers in football, it doesn't mean as much as in other sports. Like in terms of basketball or baseball, especially, the numbers don't mean as much. Like, you brought up Matthew Stafford talking about Calvin Johnson being a top 5 wide receiver, but you didn't mention Matthew Stafford being a top 5 quarterback. No one has ever, throughout the years, have ever said, you know what, Matthew Stafford's a top 5 QB. You know what? He is one of the best out here. There's never been a conversation. And even this year that he was starting off hot, there was never like, man, Matthew Stafford's the best QB in the league. It wasn't even that conversation in that. The numbers are going to help him, and the Super Bowl win's going to help him. But I never truly thought, this is the Hall of Fame. This is supposed to be the best of the best. I never thought Matthew Stafford was best of the best. At any point. Any point. And I also may add, before Detroit fans or LA fans come at me, I don't think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. I don't think Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. And I know Eli Manning is getting in 100%.
Yeah.
So this argument I'm using, like if I feel like you've been the best of the best and that makes you into the Hall of Fame, I never thought Eli Manning was the best of the best. Ever. At one point in this point of his career. Phillip Rivers, I never thought he was the best of the best at any point of his career. Now, people are going to talk about, well, yeah, duh, because they got Peyton Manning and you got Tom Brady. How can you be? Well, that just shows you the difference between the best of the best and everybody else. Like, shouldn't that be the standard of being a Hall of Famer?
Like, it's the crazy part though. If you look at it, like if Matthew Stafford had played his career somewhere with another organization,
yes,
a better organization, like say San Francisco, or Pittsburgh Steelers, or even the Giants, he would be a god to the Giants. All you have to do is make the playoffs every year and put up those type of numbers. And the Dallas Cowboys, he'd be a god over there. There'd be no question. The only reason I feel like people are a little hesitant really is because of the wins. The wins aren't there.
Yeah, of course, the
percentage isn't there.
Quarterback is the most, how can I say, most valued position probably in sports, right? The most important. Like, if you don't really have a good quarterback, your chances of winning a Super Bowl is, very, very minimum. You know what I mean? How many can you go back in the last 30 years? You'd be like, you know what? Besides, the most famous one is Trent Dilfer, right? It's like, that's the most subpar quarterback to win a Super Bowl in a long time that I could think of, right? That's the one. That's the gold standard, like, trash QB.
Brad Johnson.
But Brad Johnson had a really good year. Obviously, Matthew Stafford had a really good year. I'm just saying there's exceptions. Like you said, Brad Johnson, not a Hall of Famer, but most of the time has been somewhat of that ilk that's been winning the Super Bowls. I know, Tom Brady's got 7 of them, that fucking asshole. So he's taking up a lot of that. But, you got the Peyton Manning. But people going to be like, well, he wasn't a Hall of Famer in that second. He wasn't his Hall of Fame self in that second Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos. But he was still better than their other option, Brock Osweiler, right? They didn't even say get the.
I would say though, like even though he didn't have the arm strength, clearly wasn't there. There was some Peyton Manning stuff going on in that Super Bowl game.
He was still making smart decisions. That's why Brock couldn't. Right. That's why Brock couldn't start because he was making stupid decisions. Peyton Manning still made the smart decisions. He was a game manager. He was a really good game manager. At the end,
he wasn't going against he was going against a top defense in the Charlotte Panthers as well. So he still picked them apart. He still found the spaces
when he needed to get a first down or when he needed to score. He did his job. He did his job in that Super Bowl. Was he himself? Obviously not. But like I said, at this point, Matthew Stafford still has a chance to build his resume for the Hall of Fame. Now that
He did have a, even though he did have a top receiver, I can't remember him having a top running back or top offensive line or top defense or top second. Like,
yeah, you're right.
he is Detroit. He played his whole career in Detroit, which is like destroys Hall of Famers.
Well, you're right about that. And that's also I wanted to talk about what this win means to Matthew Stafford. What does that say about other franchises throughout football? Like my Jets, the Detroit Lions. When you have a quarterback, Detroit had a franchise quarterback for 12, 13 years in Matthew Stafford. He has clearly shown he can win a Super Bowl if you put the team around him. He's capable of leading his team to a Super Bowl. He has proven that with the Rams. Even though the Rams, people will argue they built a quote-unquote super team, guess what? Detroit Lions has the same capabilities to build a quote-unquote super team if you have the right front office management and willing to go for it. If you have the smarts to do it. The Rams had the smarts to build this team. They hired the smart front office, a young guy in Sean McVay. That just shows you, what a real team could do for a quarterback. So I understand that argument 100%. But in the end, facts remain. What's on paper, he was never, like even this season, I'd never thought Matthew Stafford, man, you know what? Maybe you could say he was a top 5 quarterback this year. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you go down the list, I mean,
well,
you have Aaron and
Brady,
Mahomes.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Joe Burrow.
Justin Herbert. You got Herbert. You got who else? Well, Russell Wilson wasn't himself this year at all. So let's he wasn't a top 5, obviously. Kyler Murray, died down big time in the second half, so you can't put him there over Matthew Stafford. So maybe Matthew Stafford makes that cut a little bit. But I just already threw some names out there to you, and you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about this dude and that dude.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh Allen? Did I bring up Josh Allen? Was he better than Josh
Allen? No.
Oh,
no.
You know what I mean?
No. So I guess top 6, top 7. Josh Allen was unbelievable this year.
Does he have a top running back?
No, he has like one of the worst running backs in the NFL.
Even though Singletary started ripping it towards the end, he started, they started running the ball. I'm just saying is, in some ways, Matthew Stafford needs to be held accountable for his stats. Even though, like you said, the Lions failed him throughout his career. And the Lions failed themselves because you had a quarterback that was capable of winning a Super Bowl and you didn't build the pieces around him. And it just shows, once again, this is a team sport. I know Brady gets all... I'm a Tom Brady hater. If you don't know me, I'm a Tom Brady hater. Stuff like that. But the reality is you need pieces around your quarterback, no matter how great they are, to win. Brady was wasn't looking like himself in the last couple years of the Patriots. Why? Because they didn't have the pieces around him. He said, I'm tired of this shit. I'm taking a pay cut. I'm throwing the fucking ball to Jacoby Myers out here, law firm out here in these streets. What is going on? He went to a team that had pieces, obviously with the Buccaneers, and accelerated his numbers and his play, and the team won with him because he had pieces around him. So even Brady needs pieces in the end. So it's just the way it is. And the Lions have failed, and multiple franchises have failed their quarterbacks and their fan base, a.k.a. my fucking Jets. They've been failing everybody for fucking ever my whole life, okay? All these years. And that just speaks to
I'll
that.
say you have an edge. Like, when it comes to the Jets, I always loved when they didn't wait for the savior quarterback. I loved when they got when I got like Bart Scott, and when I got like they paid Mo Lewis and all these guys to come back and make their defense good. They weren't waiting necessarily, just using a bunch of draft picks to trade up and draft a miracle.
No, they need to do that. That's the thing that pisses me off. That's the shit that pisses me off. Like, honestly, straight up, I like Robert Saleh, right? He's been, he seems like he's got it together. He seems like he could run a program, and I believe in him going forward. But I would have honestly, today, I will call Sean Payton Yo, Sean Payton, I hear you want to leave the Saints. Come to the Jets. I'll give you an 8-year deal. $90 million. Come on down. I'll give you some front office. Like, I want to see big moves like that. I'm sick of this shit. I'm done. Like, if you see you see Sean Payton, one of the top coaches in the NFL available, go out there and fucking get him. This is what I mean. You have an opportunity to grab an asset like that, but you're like, yeah, we just hired Robert Saleh last year. Just this and like, you're okay with the status quo in some ways.
Yeah, that I didn't understand. Like, I didn't understand that move because, look, why are you looking for a rookie head coach? Instead of going out and getting a veteran head
last
coach?
year there wasn't no. I mean, I don't think there was any. There was no Sean Paytons available. You know what I mean? There was no Andy Reid's available. That's what
Eric Bieniemy was available. Could have had him.
But that's a rookie head coach. That would be a rookie head coach. I'm just talking about this is Sean Payton is an undeniable resume that, you know what I mean? So in the end, I got no problem. If you're not going to get one of those type of echelon of coaches, I got no problem. Like I said, I like Robert Saleh. Hopefully he leads us and he becomes one of the Sean Paytons and Andy Reids and Mike Tomlins of the world. I would love that. But when one of those guys become available, you go after it. That's the Jets haven't gone to the playoffs in 11 years. Go for it. I don't care. Fuck this patient shit. Look, you know what? You got to give the program. No, if you got Sean Payton, you give him 8 years. That's when the patience starts. When you give a guy like that kind of money and kind of power. That's just my argument towards that. I'm just saying these franchises, like the Detroit Lions and Jets, and
coach.
Just do that shit, And I'm not saying a coach. I'm just talking about putting the pieces together, even if it's front office. I am just talking about all aspects of a front office or building a franchise and a culture. And shout outs to Matthew Stafford. He proved because how many people said Matthew Stafford wasn't a winner? Now he showed, I can win if I have the pieces around me. If I have a coach that believes in me, a front office that believes in, that gives me wide receivers, that gives me a running back. Hey, Matthew Stafford didn't have a strong running game this year either.
No. Cam Akers was out for the year. Henderson did a good job though when he was in.
Oh yeah, he did say some stuff, but it's not like they had a strong running game. And also, Cooper Kupp owes a lot to Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp was a really good wide receiver before this year, but this year he's stratosphere, top 3 wide. He had the best wide receiver year. Okay, now he looks like a god of a wide receiver, and partly is because of his skill set and Matthew Stafford helping him out. So I think Matthew Stafford deserves a lot of credit for what he did this year and everything. And to keep it rolling with the quarterback conversation here, the other big news in this offseason is Aaron Rodgers, right? He's back at it again, talking about, first everybody was talking about the news about his Instagram post, but the media and everybody else, who gives a shit about his media? You're trying to decipher what the hell he's...
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it already.
Like, why you fuck it. If he's going to do shit like that and you over there eating it up, he's going to do it again. Just don't eat that shit up. If he's not coming out with a clear answer, get the fuck out of here. But anyway, that's just my opinion when it comes to media and eating up Instagram posts. Like, what does this mean?
Desperation. Like, they're scared to death to trade him. Like,
why? What? Well, you don't ever want to trade him.
The Packers. I would trade him. I would trade him, but they have no idea what they're doing over there. Like, the draft picks they've made
so you already answered the question,
it.
Because now the reports are he wants to be the highest paid player in football by a wide margin. He wants to get $50 million. And already the Packers are financially constrained because they got a bunch of free agents and they're over the cap and things of that nature. So you're going to say, F it, trade him.
I would have been traded. I would have traded him last year. This year wouldn't even exist. I would have traded him and got some assets.
Even though you're a Super Bowl contender?
What, the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, they were Super Bowl contenders.
No, I don't. Yeah, but I don't view them as Super Bowl contenders because I don't believe. I just didn't believe that Aaron Rodgers was ever gonna win a Super Bowl in Green Bay again. I just didn't believe there's something.
But you're outside looking in. I'm talking about if that's your quarterback inside and you went to 2 NFC championships, you don't think you're going to be like, damn, we're this close. We should run him back one more year with our guy.
Not if he's doing the things that he's doing. If he's saying the things that he's saying privately or publicly, however they're being leaked. If he's not, if I don't feel that he's all the way on board with the organization and the team, like if you don't, if he doesn't believe in the team that the team can win a Super Bowl, and he's talking about like bringing Randall Cobb back from retire from wherever he was in Houston or wherever the hell he was, I'd look at all my options and look to trade him and move forward from there. But I
Well,
think they messed up in the draft, and they're trying to hide the very fact that they messed up in the draft by drafting a running back and a QB when you had top five already had a top five QB and a top five running back in the NFL.
and well, that's part of the frustration with Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, bro, we're this close to the Super Bowl, and you're getting future pieces. That's what you're doing right now. That's what you're drafting future pieces when you can draft help for us right now. So I understand some of the frustration with Aaron Rodgers, and I agreed with him when he made those frustrations known. Like, what's this deal? I'm here. I'm 35 years old. He's obviously older than that now, and he's not getting help that he needs. So if you were already looking to the future, I guess that adds to your point. Say, F it. You want $50 million? Okay, you get it in with another team, and we'll get 2 first rounders and some assets,
Absolutely.
and keep it moving.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If you're still looking to contend, because Jim, this is a great time to do it. I mean, I know nobody wants to touch Deshaun Watson, but you still have Galapagos. I can't even say his name
Yeah, GBG
properly.
baby.
Yeah, Jimmy G, and you have Russell Wilson out there talking like he wants to be traded. Kyler Murray's talking about the Arizona organization. Like I'm looking to start fresh with a new quarterback. There's quarterbacks available.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, speaking about one of the rumors, okay, well, let's talk about the Aaron Rodgers destination. The A lot of people are throwing out this name, and I know you'd like this because you wearing the hat. You're Denver Broncos. You're a Denver Broncos fan. That's probably most people say that's the most logical destination, or maybe the best destination to give him a chance to win a Super Bowl. One, do you want him, and do you believe if you add him, your Denver Broncos would be, right there in that conversation?
Yeah, if we could add him without parting with any of our top players, like not wide receivers, but like mainly Patrick Surtain, who we acquired last year through draft. Like if we can add him with just moving picks, then we would be a contender for years, for as long as Aaron Rodgers can play at the level that he's playing at now. But do I really want him? No, no. I would prefer to go after a Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray, since that seems to be available.
But I think the asking
Even a
price.
Watson.
I think the asking price might go a little higher for a Kyler Murray. You know what I mean? Than Aaron Rodgers. The only reason I say that, not because he's a better player than Aaron Rodgers, is because of the age. You're gonna have Kyler Murray for 10 years instead of Aaron Rodgers for what, maybe 3 years or something like that. Um, Russell Wilson might be an interesting, very interesting. Now the thing is, Russell Wilson has a trade clause, so you have to convince him to come to Colorado. I think it was the Giants, Raiders, and another team that Russell Wilson was allegedly willing to waive his no trade clause for. I don't think it was Broncos was one of them. But I hear what you're saying. You rather prefer to go after, and those are top quarterbacks. Are they Aaron Rodgers? No, but they are one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
I don't feel like winning is the most important thing for him. I think he enjoys playing the game of football and stuff. But I feel like it's starting to feel like if he doesn't win another Super Bowl, he'll just be fine. Like
I think he'll be fine, and
it'll
I
be
think he
cool.
wants to win one to shut people up. I think he's one of those types to be like, you know what, I want to win one to show them, fuck out of here. I am Aaron Rodgers, but I also believe you're right that he ain't gonna be sad that he don't win another one. Be like, yo, I tried my best. This team, he's gonna say in the future, this fucking front office didn't help me as much as they needed to. I think he's gonna use that excuse in the future. Now, do you believe the Denver Broncos is the best destination? Not throw away your fandom, is the best destination for Aaron Rodgers?
No, be honest with you. I don't know that their personalities would mesh with Mike Tomlin and like Mike Tomlin and the Steelers organization, but I feel like if he went on the Steelers,
You think that
that
way?
instantly that team instantly becomes the number one team in the AFC to
Well,
me.
I think
Would not,
I think if quite, I went with this last year. I came out with a podcast and a YouTube video about my favorite destinations for Aaron Rodgers. I might stick with this team, which was my number one team. I got no problem if someone says Broncos number one, or like you said, the Steelers number one as his number one destination. But I'm gonna go with this team. I'm gonna stick with the Cleveland Browns. Now, if you put him on the Browns, obviously on paper they have a ton of talent. They got running backs. They're lacking a little bit in the wide receiver position. Maybe they could draft one. Well, if they trade for Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if they could draft one. But the point is here, we don't know about that. That the wide receiver position, Jarvis Landry's still a really good wide receiver, but that's about it after that. But they got some tight ends. He's still got some options over there in Cleveland, but I like Cleveland over there because they have what they're missing is a quarterback. Baker Mayfield is not the answer. Been saying this. I don't know why people even thought he was ever an answer when he even made the playoffs. He's never been the answer. Baker Mayfield is not a Super Bowl leading. Can he pull up Matthew Stafford? I doubt that even. I don't think Baker Mayfield is the answer. Aaron
if
Rodgers
he
in
went to a
Cleveland.
contending team.
I would love to see Aaron Rodgers in Cleveland if you're a Cleveland fan because you got the pieces, you're missing a quarterback. And why not?
Yeah, I agree with you though. They would need to find a wide receiver somehow through free. There's wide receivers available free agency though. Yeah, Mike Williams. I think Calvin Ridley wants out of Atlanta as
Those
well.
guys get paid money. I mean, you would have to devote a lot of assets to get a player like that. You would Aaron Rodgers has done well with, lower round wide receivers. So you will hope maybe the Browns was be able to steal one in the draft in a later round, and Aaron Rodgers develops with him. But you got Jarvis Landry. That's one good piece. Then you got Hooper, who's a really good tight end. He's only going to be, accelerated with Aaron Rodgers. So you got some pieces already, and you got running backs for Aaron Rodgers. I think he'll be fine with that offense over there. I like it. And maybe we
Only
don't know.
reason
And once again, we don't know if they have another great wide receiver on the roster because Baker Mayfield. What did Odell Beckham do with the Browns? So we don't know what untapped talent they have over there anyway. Am I right or wrong about that?
yeah, I mean, Peoples Jones looked pretty interesting as a
He's
wide
got
receiver,
talent.
but
He's
I
got
don't.
talent,
Yeah, he's got talent.
but you
He's
don't
got
know because
talent, but
of course
you,
you don't know because of Baker
you,
Mayfield.
yeah. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is at the point in his career where he's betting on
People's
Peoples
just
Jones right now.
Well, I'm just saying
He's
but
not.
Peoples Jones will be the number two. Or he'll be the third
Mm,
option, really, because
mm,
after
mm,
Hooper
mm,
and things of that nature. I'm just saying though,
mm.
you never know the untapped talent they have because of Baker Mayfield. They may look like fucking like Odell Beckham Jr. did not look like himself at all. Even though I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is a 1,000-yard receiver in this league. He's a number two, and a lot of teams automatically. I don't know if he's Odell 1,400 yards, leading the New York Giants Odell Beckham anymore, but he's damn sure is really damn good wide receiver, which he showed with the LA Rams. As long as he has a quarterback that knows how to get him the ball, and Aaron Rodgers knows how to get the wide receiver the ball. So, like I said, untapped potential over there. So I like the Browns. Obviously, the Broncos have wide receivers. They have a young running game. They got the defense.
Steelers are the only team that I would put over the Broncos. Like other than
But their
other
offensive
than
line
that,
is
like
not all that. That's the problem. They have the worst offensive
the
line of those
offensive
three.
line. Yeah,
Out
but
of
that
those
could be
three, that could be
but
fixed.
like offensive. It can be fixed. Like you can fix the offensive line. Like through the later, you don't necessarily need to draft in the first round to fix the offensive line. I feel
Well, I think you have the
like
best coach out of the three is with Mike Tomlin, and then
mm,
I just think the offensive line is the weakest out of the three because we know the Cleveland Browns got an
Changes
offensive
too.
line and the Broncos got a
That
decent line. What happened?
no, I feel like that changes though. That actually helps your offensive line when you have like an Aaron Rodgers, because now the defense can't put 7 men in the. They're not trying to blitz every play or whatever, because you have a legit quarterback that can throw down the field with legit deep threats. Like um Johnson is a really good wide receiver, really good wide receiver. And, he came pretty much out of nowhere, nobody expected. But I feel like Claypool would have better numbers too if he had a wide receiver who had a little bit more of an arm throwing down the field and make him a deep field threat, and that opens up the field. That opens up
The only thing
the
I think
rushing lanes for Najee.
I think Juju's becoming. I think he's a free agent. I think Juju's a
Yeah,
free
he's
agent.
not going. They're not
Um,
going to be able to afford him. He's going to look to get paid. Last year was a discount where he just like took $1 million less just to return with the team. I don't see him doing that this year.
yeah, I probably don't see that doing that either. But you never know. Aaron Rodgers comes into town. Juju has already established that he said, you know what, I like a good quarterback, and if my numbers go up with Aaron Rodgers, so does my value.
Absolutely, they would.
So,
Absolutely, it
so he
would.
might
Because
take
I
a pay
still
cut to
think he's
come
a good
back.
wide receiver.
I got no problem with this Steelers pick right here. The Steelers, like you said, they got a legit defense. They got a running game with Harris, who look like a damn star. He is a star in this league, and they got some talent on the outside. So the Steelers will be a really good pick. And you got Mike Tomlin, who's never had a losing season. Really good pick. I like you can't. Most teams that have talent and you add Aaron Rodgers, it's gonna look good anyway, right? If you put him on the Vikings, it's gonna look good. I mean, you just gonna look good on a lot of teams, no matter what. If Seattle gets rid of Russell Wilson, if he goes to Seattle, you're like, you know what, that doesn't sound bad either. Even though I think Seattle, they obviously need to replenish some talent over there.
Yeah, yeah. They have some issues on defense, and as well as with their offensive play as well. I don't feel like Russell Wilson and the offensive coordinator is getting along too well.
Well, yeah,
Him and Pete Carroll.
he's
Pete
well.
Carroll already had a rocky late relationship.
All right, so let's move on from quarterbacks. Like you said, Aaron Rodgers would be fine anywhere, and you think the Packers should trade him. And at this point, I may agree with you. Like, you know what? Because you have all this talent that are free agents, and he's commanding this kind of money. I think this is. I don't think he comes back to the Packers. I just don't see it happening. Even though they said the reports are they desperately want to keep him. They shouldn't. So if you desperately want to keep him, did you expect why did you draft Jordan Love then? Did you expect him, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, to fade at this point because he won the MVP? You're like, you know what, we got to keep this guy, or you were like,
So
or is Jordan Love not showing anything in practice? Is that another thing? Like, what is the thinking here? Why draft this man if you're not gonna give him the reins? If Aaron Rodgers is giving you a headache like this,
because they don't believe in Jordan Love.
yeah,
They
it
don't
must.
believe him,
It got to be something along those lines. It's got to be something along
and
those
he's not the
lines.
guy.
All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about the Super Bowl winning coach, LA Rams, Sean McVay. There's been reports, I don't know, he might retire, might give it up this year. He did come out and say, I'm running it back. But after Troy Aikman just signed a $15 million a year deal with ESPN to do Monday Night Football, they're saying a lot of networks want Sean McVay and that he could command $15 million to leave coaching to become, like a John Gruden or a John Madden, right? Win the Super Bowl, go into the TV booth. And my thing is, and a lot of people are saying, not my thing is, a lot of people are saying, leave the Rams. They got no draft picks anyway. You got a bunch of free agents. Leave them while you're hot. Get that money. How would you feel if Sean McVay did
That's
that?
right.
How would you feel if Sean McVay did that?
I'd say if that's what he has on his heart, do it. If that's what's gonna make him happy. But he'll always wonder, could I have run it back? That'll always be in the back of his mind if he did leave. If if I
But
I
it wasn't
wouldn't,
in John
I
Madden's
would
mind.
always.
John Madden won a Super Bowl. He was the highest winning
But
percentage for a coach, and he was like, I'm out. I'm good.
I'm out. I don't know how old John Madden was when. I think he was a little bit older than Sean McVay
I think he was
when
like
he
in his
won though.
40s. It's like he wasn't old.
He wasn't old. No,
I don't think John
I
Madden was
don't
old
know.
at all.
I can't figure it out. I mean, the booth sounds nice, but it's always there, you know? It's not like even if he has a losing season next year with the Rams, he can't retire and do broadcasts. He could absolutely do that.
My
So
prediction,
I don't know.
my prediction, I tweeted this earlier, and if you don't follow me, at Idiot Ezra on Twitter, you know what I'm saying, do your thing. But I've tweeted this earlier. Um, I think next offseason he'll do this. Take the TV deal next offseason, unless they blow your mind out of this year. Even if he takes it this, I think you want to run it back, right? You want to defend your title. That's what I'm thinking. But if not,
Absolutely.
you defend your title next year, like you said, take the TV deal, making $15 million a year, if that's the number he gets.
Nice. Nice little
Then
bag.
you do it for a couple years, and then when you get the itch again, now you have the leverage. Like John Gruden had the leverage over the Raiders. You want me to come back to coaching? I make $8 million here. You got to give me more money, and you got to give me a lot of years because I could keep this job for 30 years. So you have the leverage in negotiations, and Sean McVay will be, 38 years old, 37, 38 years old. You want me to come back to coaching? Let's say when he's 40-something, 42. He's like 37 right now. So I'm just saying, if he does it for 5 years, you want me to come back to coaching, you got to give me a 10-year deal worth $150 million, $200 million. Because if I'm getting paid $15 million to do TV, why would I go back to coaching? You got to give me 20. You got to give me 18 or $20 million a year and front office power. Whatever thing he wants, he has the leverage to tell a team.
Yeah, you know what? It makes sense. It kind of makes sense because watching him coach the game of football is really nerve wracking. Like he's invested on every single play. Like you could see him get pumped up. He's almost running onto the field like after they get a big stop or a touchdown or something like that. Somebody like that. Like I don't know how many more years. That seems a lot. Like that seems a lot of energy being expunged. Like I don't know how many more years of that he has in him. So
Well, those you ever seen
having the
that? You ever seen that?
personality that he has.
You ever seen that TikTok video? They say they have an assistant coach that grabs him from the sideline because he gets too hyped, so he won't get on the
Yes,
field and
yes.
everything like that.
Right.
Like it wouldn't bother me if he took the TV option this year. If he said, you know what, Fox needs Fox is offering me $15 million. Does the Rams step up and say, you know what, don't take this TV deal. Here's another, $6 million this year to coach, because they say his salary is $8.5 million to be a head coach. If you could double your salary, almost double your salary by doing TV, can you fault the man? I can't fault you. I mean, you're getting paid double to do a quote unquote easier job, less stressful job. Let's go, not easier. Let's go with less stressful
Yeah.
job, you know?
Yeah.
And that's very enticing. Very enticing. And you get to leave the no-pick Rams for the next few years.
Mhm. Well, I mean, I still think they can contend next year though, because like who they
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how many players are coming back though. I don't know if Whitworth is coming back or.
And
I know Aaron Donald says he wants to run it back, but we'll see. You know.
as long as you keep, obviously if you got Cooper Kupp, you got Robert Woods who signed, Aaron Donald who signed, Matthew Stafford is signed. But Whitworth, that's a big one. If you don't get a left tackle, because he's 40 years old, he was the oldest left tackle in the league, or the oldest offensive tackle in the league. Lineman in the league. That's a big hole to fill, and that's not cheap. So they definitely, and they can't draft one in the first round because they got no picks in the first round. So that's the tough part. But yes, they would have. They will still have their core of star players in place next year. And that's why I think Sean McVay would do one more year, and then he'll open up his options for the booth if it doesn't work out. And even if he wins it back-to-back, he could be like, I'm definitely going to the booth back-to-back, and let me have this on my resume. He's always going to be in demand no matter what he does right now. If he goes in the booth after this year, he's going to be in incredible demand. He's going to be in a financial leverage like no other that we've seen in a coach in a long, long time. So,
Still get coaching offers everywhere. Yeah.
He'll get crazy, but he'll have the leverage. Like, why would I come to you? I'm making $15 million. You gotta give me something insane, like the Raiders did with John Gruden. That's the only reason John Gruden left Monday night. He got $100 million, 10-year contract. Why? Because he had the leverage. Not because
That is insane.
because he had the leverage because he's in the booth, and also because he won a Super Bowl and he was beloved in Raider Nation. So Sean McVay is gonna have that type of thing, and he's gonna be much younger, and he ain't gonna have the bullshit what happened with John Gruden. So
Les Miles would do it though.
yeah,
Les
yeah.
Miles would add a little more money to his bag just to
Well,
get him to stay.
well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, I know you want to talk some basketball. Let's get into that. What did you want to talk about? What NBA talk we gonna get into?
Brooklyn Nets.
Well,
Brooklyn Nets.
all right. So
Um,
we're about a what? We're a few weeks after the big trade. I think James Harden was actually making his debut with the 76ers tonight. We're both Brooklyn Net fans. Let's let that be known. You know, we don't agree much
Brooklyn.
on sports, but we agree on the Brooklyn Nets, baby, all day. Um, you were happy with this trade.
Yeah, I was. I was happy on with this trade. I never really. I was skeptical to begin with when they traded for James Harden, but the dude played his ass off. I can't deny that. And
Not at the
even the
end.
playoffs he was hurt. Well, not at the end. Obviously, I'm talking about like the first year.
Yeah. He was like
First year
he
he
was the
came in
Brooklyn
and did
Nets
his thing.
MVP that last year in a sense. He was the glue.
Mhm.
He was the point guard. He was looking
Right.
phenomenal.
He
Yes.
was whatever we needed him to do. He was doing it. He's playing his ass off. Can't knock him for that. But I did have questions like about our defense, like with him, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant on the floor and stuff. And when we faced like better teams in the playoffs, obviously I was wrong because Kevin Durant almost took the team to the finals by him damn self. With the foot on the line, he almost sent the Bucks home. But with this trade, I feel like we got better because we still have two prolific scorers, and now we have a top defender on a team with depth and size. And I just feel like once they all get on the court together, Ben is going to be the glue that'll mesh everything together. I feel that's what I'm feeling right now. That he'll mesh everything together, and that team will be hard to beat. Like I don't see another team in the East beating them if they're all healthy and all playing together.
Well, it's gonna be some trials because obviously Kyrie's, at this point still only playing half of the games on the road. But in terms of the trade, I did like the trade. Now I am not gonna go as far as to say they got better. What I think here is what no one's talking about is I think it was strength, obviously with the big three of Harden, Kyrie, Durant, historic strength in scoring, right? Like you can't you can't double nobody when those three will be on the court, and it will be a historic firepower. Versus what I think we have now is a much better versatility. So to me, that's the two things you're battling. I think I would rather go with strength. I think I would rather see those three Hall of Fame players together. They went 13-3. Can you like if they were healthy and actually were able to develop the chemistry over a long season? I would have thought that would have been insane to watch, and it would have been historic. Plain and simple, it would have been a historic run. We missed out on that. That was a big if that a question mark will never be answered. But now we have versatility. Something we didn't have with that big three is Ben Simmons that could defend 1 through 5. He doesn't have to be a scorer. And if a small lineup now, you have two 6'10 guys. You have Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons, who are your two best defenders, and they're both 6'10 plus with arm reach. So I like that a lot. That sounds amazing. We had to trade James Harden, and I thought the trade package that we got was really good. Like you can't complain. Usually there's someone usually when you trade a superstar, you're a loser. You're basically a loser in that trade. I don't feel like that with this trade because now we got an all NBA defensive guy, all-star, and Ben Simmons, who's 20-something years old, who can lead this team and be that piece after the Kevin Durant era, or be a trade asset. So that's a beautiful thing.
We didn't mention we also got Andre Drummond,
Yeah, we
who
got a
was
nice. We needed a
playing his
center.
no doubt, no doubt. But I don't want to underplay it because he was playing his ass off in Philly, like
Well, he was
getting
coming off
like
the bench. I'm just saying
playing 9 minutes,
he's a
9 minutes, and getting averaging 10 or 11 rebounds. That's phenomenal coming off of the bench.
I'm not
And then
here.
we got Steph
I'm not
Curry
gonna
as
be
well.
here to be like, Drummond's an all star. Drummond is a really good piece on,
Oh,
especially
he's a
spurts.
great player.
I don't know about great
Uh,
player.
well,
Hell
no, I
no.
mean he's a good player, not a great player. He's a good
He's a
player.
good piece. He's a good
But
piece. He's definitely a good piece to have on the team. We needed his size.
right,
We
right.
needed his rebounding. 100%. I'm not disagreeing. I just don't. We're not going to see him all the time on the court, and especially the closing minutes of games. I don't think. I don't. But he's going to be important. He's going to be important to me.
Especially against the Bucks.
The
Especially
big
against the
the
Bucks.
big win. I mean, is you got. I was telling everybody in the chat, if we trade James Harden for Ben Simmons, I want Curry in that trade, and we got Curry. So now we got another who's being the leading scorer since he's been, you know, traded over here, and he's going to be your third or fourth option. That is a beautiful thing to have. Now we have we still got shooting replaced with Curry, so I like that a lot. It's just if you want to double Kevin Durant, you could just throw it out to Curry, throw it out to Irving. Hopefully he's playing. There's a lot of question marks with the team still, but the
Yeah, I mean,
versatility,
Is Joe Harris coming back? If
yeah.
Joe Harris comes back, that's just I don't know.
Well, I will
I
hope. I
don't.
mean, I hope he
I,
comes back, but he needs to be better than he was last year in the playoffs because he couldn't hit a fucking.
he's gonna have plenty of time. I'll tell you
He
that.
had nothing. He
This
couldn't
year,
hit anything last year
no, he's gonna be wide
in the playoff.
open this
Yeah,
year
well, he was wide open last year
if
too.
he comes back.
I don't want to fucking hear it. He fucking was. He was James Harden in the playoffs last year. Okay, he went to old school James Harden. He didn't do shit in the playoffs. Wide open, missing everything. So Joe Harris has got to step his game up in the playoffs. I'm not here to fucking give him a skip on that shit because he was terrible, fucking terrible. We would have won that Buck series if he did half his job, what he usually does. Anyway, that's not the point here. You're getting me a little frustrated. Fuck you, Greg. James. But the point is here, I like the versatility. I like the trade. We got something for now and something for the future. And if you're going to trade a superstar, this is the kind of trade that you hope that you get in return because usually you catch an L's when you're trading a player at, James Harden's caliber. And you know what? Can you fault Philly?
First round picks.
Like, can't you say if you feel like we got better? Don't you think Philadelphia feel like they got better too? They got James Harden and Embiid.
No doubt, they feel like because they didn't. Ben Simmons wasn't on the court.
Yeah.
He was a ghost that they were still paying too.
So you traded
By the way,
Curry,
because
Drummond, and 2 firsts.
I think are both of those picks unprotected, or are they?
I'm not sure about the protected unprotected part. The point
I
is
don't know either.
we still got some draft picks out of it, which is very nice. We're not
Yep.
the one. We were not
Yep.
the ones to give up draft picks. Recouped. And people were talking about what the Nets gave up to get James Harden. In the end, like I'm happy what we gave up for James Harden. We basically like what we gave up for James Harden last offseason. I would have probably gave up for the pieces that we got this offseason for Ben Simmons and these players.
If we could go back and just skip the James Harden part,
And just get Ben
then we
Simmons.
beat the Bucks. And just get Ben Simmons, we beat the Bucks
Honestly,
in the playoffs for sure.
if we had health on our side, we would have beat the Bucks. I think so. If we had
Yeah,
health on our,
obviously,
that's it.
for sure.
I just think if we had, we just didn't have our team, and it just sucks that we didn't get to see that come to fruition because I thought, a lot of people would have thought this would have been a historic run in team to watch, especially in the playoffs. But whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, Philadelphia got better, and there's a lot of teams this basketball season. I feel like are championship contenders. Don't you think? There's quite a few teams you feel like you could see come out of like the East, especially. The East is much deeper than the West this year. And if you had to pick your contenders, who would it be?
I mean, we can't ignore the Chicago Bulls. We
Okay.
can't ignore them. DeRozan's playing like an MVP, and Lonzo Ball's out right now. But when he comes back, that team's gonna be ridiculously defensively, and I feel like there's not a lot of teams that I see beating them out in the playoffs.
You think the Bulls are the number one team in the East?
No, no. Of course,
Oh,
I believe it's the Nets, and then I have Milwaukee probably second, and then m- possibly Philly. I feel like they're right there with Philly to me.
I think the East probably has about 5 teams that can come out the East. I'm gonna go with Milwaukee, Philadelphia, um, Bulls, 3 right there. Nets, but I think a lot needs to go right with the Nets. I'm not on that bandwagon in the sense of we should be the favorites. We got Kevin Durant. I meant we have a chance, so that's why I'm putting him up there. But I think there's a lot of, the Kyrie Irving. How Ben Simmons when he comes back and how he looks with us. I like the makeup of the Nets, but it's just so late in the season and injuries and with question marks with Kyrie Irving bothers me a lot. But they're up there. But also the Celtics. They've had the best defense since early December, and they're the only team in the East that have a winning record over teams over 500. The Celtics are hot right now, and they're gelling and they're playing the best defense in the league. That says something. And they're a young team. It's not like, these are just, even they're a young team with old veterans. And I mean young team in terms of their 2 young stars with Brown and Tatum. That's a dangerous combination, and those two can continue to get better. And if they're flowing on defense the way they are and continue, and it goes into the playoffs, they're very dangerous. So I think that's my 5 right there. And the Cavs are no pushover. The Cavs are no pushover. The Heat, we didn't
Not
mention the
expect
Heat.
that.
We didn't mention the Heat. The
Right.
Heat,
Right.
the East, no joke this year. The East is going that playoffs in the East is going to be the best to watch. And when it comes to the West, I think it's let's think of this in terms of spades. 2 and a possible. 2 and 2 possibles. All right. Warriors, Suns, right? Those are your 2 definite contenders in the West. And I guess the 2 possibles is LeBron and the Lakers because it's LeBron and the Lakers. If AD's healthy, you never know what could happen. I'm only going to say this is a possible if they come back healthy. And because they probably, in my mind, might have the MVP in the league in Jokic, the Denver Nuggets. That's a low, like if I'm talking to you in spades, I have a very low possible. I have a very low possible, James. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm not confident I'll make this book. I'm just letting you know there's a tiny possibility I can steal a book here. So I'm going with the Denver Nuggets. Am I missing somebody from?
Suns. You don't think the Suns
I just said the
will
Suns.
be
I said the Suns and Warriors are the 2 best teams in the West.
okay? Okay. No, that's it. I mean, like besides the Lakers, the Grizzlies.
Like
I don't
Grizzlies,
really see.
obviously the Grizzlies have
They're an interesting team, but I still think they're years away from really competing for a
no one
championship.
cares about the Jazz. No one believes in the Jazz, even though they got a good
No,
record. Um,
no.
another team, another small possible, but depends on injury health. That's the Clippers. I forgot about them. If they get Kawhi and Paul George back, small
No,
possible
but
again.
Kawhi's not coming back this year. Even if he was healthy, I don't think
I
he.
don't. Well, never know. Kawhi might be like, you know what? I just wanted to rest during the regular season to come back for the playoffs. You never know what Kawhi. Kawhi does not tell you what the deal is at all. I just think the Clippers, if healthy, are definitely one of the top. They're the top,
If
one of the top
he's
teams in the
back,
West.
then that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another. So I got 3 possibles. You know what I mean? I think the Clippers possible stronger than my Denver Nuggets hand or card in terms of spades here. So yeah, but
Do you have a finals prediction?
man, that's tough. Finals prediction. I'm I and the Suns are looking so damn good, man. And I know I think the Suns are. I'm gonna go with Suns in the West because they're on a fucking mission this year. They're tight that they lost last year. and they're playing
Yeah.
upset. They're playing like we're the fucking best team in the West, and we're not fucking with you. Okay? I just like the mindset. Do I think they have the like? I think the Warriors have the most pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the mindset of the Suns, their size, Booker, and when Chris Paul, he's gonna have some fresh legs coming back from his injury. I'm gonna go with the Suns just because of their mindset and how they're rolling. You have anybody from the West?
You know who I'm gonna pick.
Oh, here we go with the LeBron James personal ball washer.
It's the ball washer. Nah,
You're going with the Lakers.
Well, I mean, it all depends on if AD's obviously healthy.
Yeah,
But
but you don't think like I,
he, here's the thing: like when AD was healthy, when the Lakers were healthy last year, we saw what happened. Like the Suns came out one game one, and then they just toyed with them.
yeah,
Like they figured it out. They figured out what they were doing, and then they were just playing around until AD got injured, and that was the end
but
of
that's a
that
big question
series.
mark is AD's health, right?
Yeah, that's the
But
hugest question mark. Yeah,
but the other question is they don't have the same team from last year. Listen, I still got the Lakers as a possible because they got LeBron James and AD. When you got those two together, you deserve a chance. You have a chance to make it. The reason it's a possible is not they're not in the echelon with the Warriors and Suns are. They don't have the same team from last year, and you're relying on Russell Westbrook. And that is a
well,
big negative right now. It's just he doesn't mesh with this. Like for some reason, it's because I know he
never.
doesn't like. You got to make him come off the bench. He's got to play with this. He's got to be a six man on this Lakers team. He's got to lead. He's good. He could be Russell. He could be triple, double Russell Westbrook if he plays with the bench guys. You're not going to be that player with LeBron and AD. You're the third option. You're the number one option with this as a six man. I don't understand the thinking because you won an MVP. You've been a 10-time plus All-Star and All NBA guy that you can't come off the bench. If you want a championship, if this is your goal, do what's best and look your best. You're gonna look your best if you're coming off the bench. I don't seem to understand this. I don't know why they're trying to force this chemistry between these three players when it clearly hasn't shown. When you're not gonna have the ball. Make Russell Westbrook come off the bench. He needs to, and it's not only him. He needs to wake up and say, you know what? I want to come off the bench. I don't fucking understand this thinking that you're trying to mesh with these two.
Yeah, I thought it was a bad match from the beginning. Like I thought
Most people did.
when I heard about the trade, I didn't understand it. It didn't make
Well,
any sense. I mean,
you know who
and even if you
you know
were
who
going to
deserves
go,
that blame? Come on, just
oh, 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 yeah, yeah, take the blame. Like obviously, but
no
he's not
who
the GM of the team.
you
But
know
I understand he's the
that was
GM of the
yeah.
team.
LeBron made that. It was I've always told you. There's two things that I've always thought that LeBron James needs to be attacked for a little bit. One is him being a general manager for these teams. I got no problem him being a general manager, have the player empowerment, but he made a move like this, and he's got to own it. GM LeBron James, you wanted Russell Westbrook, you traded some of the kids for it, and this is what you end up with. I just don't seem to understand why Russell Westbrook does not, like you deserve as much credit. If Russell Westbrook comes off the bench and kills it, does he deserve as much credit as anybody else for winning a title with this team?
Yeah, but it takes a strong personality to do that. Even like Manu Ginobili, he didn't want to come off of the bench when he was with the Spurs.
Yeah, but
But
he
it
did
took some time.
eventually.
Yeah, but that's how great. He played for the greatest coach of all time. So that it took him. It took some convincing though. So I think maybe next year or something he'll be mentally prepared for something like
He
that.
ain't gonna
But
last there till next year. He's gonna be gone immediately after if they don't win the title, he's gone immediately. LeBron is sending him packing 100%. He's trading him.
try to trade him at the deadline too.
Well, they
Try
don't
to
want
get
to,
on John Wall.
but they didn't want to give a first rounder, which I understand the Lakers like. Why am I gonna give up a first rounder for John? Well, what has John Wall shown me the last 2-3 years that you guys deserve a first rounder? But the only reason the Houston Rockets had the leverage is like, why am I gonna take back Russell Westbrook for what? It makes no sense. You got to give him something in return. So I understand the leverage of the Rockets there. But the point is here, I just don't. The Lakers just need to figure out their makeup of their team, and it's just not gelling with these three stars. So they have a low possibility for me.
You know what's crazy? They could have had DeMar DeRozan
Yeah,
from LA, wanted to be a Laker
that's
easily.
GM
That would
LeBron.
have been sick.
GM LeBron had made a bad move, 100%. He's made good moves in his career. GM LeBron has made good moves.
You're never gonna convince me he's a bad GM because he's like 11 finals appearances. That's how good of a GM he is.
Yeah, but he could have won. I think
But
if
this one,
I think he would have won more titles if he let someone else, do some GMing around. I'm just saying. Now he hasn't GM'd all throughout his whole career. I think he started becoming a GM like the last couple of years with the Heat. That's when he started becoming a GM. That's what I think LeBron said. You know what? All right, since I am the man in this league, I'm gonna decide who plays with me and who doesn't play with me. And that's when I started thinking LeBron became a GM. Later years with the Heat. Not the beginning, because Pat Riley wasn't going to go for that shit. And LeBron hasn't proven himself to be a champion as of yet. And, when he signed that multi-year contract, you don't have to listen to LeBron. But towards the end, when you want to re-sign him, you have to listen to LeBron. Anyway, yeah, the East is a much better conference. I'm excited to watch that. I think so the Suns is coming out the West, and you got the Lakers coming out the West. What about the East? Who you got coming out the East?
I got the Brooklyn Nets coming out of the East.
Oh
That's
man,
that's what it sounds like I'm putting a lot of faith in it, but I'm just like
you
I'm
really
trying to.
are.
They're all healthy. They're all going to be healthy in the playoffs.
Well,
They're all going to be on the court together.
you gotta
They're
hope
all
that
going to
that
play.
mandate changes in New York. You gotta hope that mandate changes in New York.
It was gonna change regardless. It has nothing to do with the NBA. Like the sting is over. Like they're gonna open it up, and it doesn't make sense. Like you have other players coming in from out of town that are unvaccinated playing in Brooklyn, and Kyrie, who lives just because he's playing for a Brooklyn team, can't play. It doesn't make any sense. So they'll get it out. They'll figure it out between the city and the NBA, and he'll be on the court.
My biggest reason, besides the Kyrie Irving, situation and the mandate, is chemistry. I believe in chemistry when it comes to the basketball court. I don't think they have such a talent like the old team with the big three. I don't think you need as much chemistry because you have historic Hall of Fame players and a historic firepower. I don't think it's the same case. Like I said, more versatile, but I think when you're more versatile, chemistry is a much bigger factor. So I'm not going to put my Nets there. I'm going to keep with thinking about chemistry and things of that nature. I'm going to keep with the champions. I'm going to stick with the Bucks because Giannis is playing he's playing better this year. Like, and he's probably the best defensive player and the best, he's a superstar, and they haven't been healthy. When you got Giannis playing his defense and Drew Holiday playing his defense, and they got chemistry going, I don't know. I'm going to stick with the Bucks. I think it's going to be a
Got
rematch.
your boy Serge Ibaka as well. I mean,
So
but yeah, it definitely will be a rematch.
I think
Bucks, but
I
I
hope
just
the
got
Nets
the
make it.
not the Nets versus no, definitely.
Now,
I'll put money on that one.
now I am not as convinced with the Bucks to making it to the finals because it's a stronger road, it's a harder road to make it to the finals in the East than the West and the Suns. So I have more confidence in the Suns making the finals than I definitely have the Bucks making the finals in the East because it's a tougher road and like you got some strong teams and you never know how Embiid and James Harden is going to look like, even though I'm confident James Harden will revert back to old James Harden in the playoffs and do nothing and falter. And you never know. I don't know. The Heat getting healthy in the playoffs. They got pieces left and right, and they got some veterans, and they're hungry too. And they got you got some young players they're like the Heat got players up and down. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
and they got a great coach in Eric Spoelstra. I just think I'm just more confident in the Suns. That's it. And if you're asking me who's going to win it all, right now, I am going to go with the Suns. I'm going to go with the Suns right now. Right now. But let's see how the playoffs play. Sadly, there's going to be an injury too before the playoffs start or during the playoffs that changes everything. That's what happened That's what happened last year, right? Injuries just changed the whole playoff dynamic. Ruined it for the Nets. It ruined it for a lot of teams last year, like the Lakers. So, that's a very important part of this. So we're actually going with kind of a early prediction for the playoffs and who's coming out of that nature. So you got Nets, Lakers. I'm guessing you got the Nets. Got the Nets beating Lakers in your scenario?
Hey, I'm gonna be happy either way, but I'm gonna go with the Nets. Of course, I'm gonna go with my home team.
Gonna be
I'm gonna go
happy
with my
either
home
way.
team.
Gonna be happy either
Of
way.
course,
He's
I'll be happy either way. Either
disgusting.
way, but you know,
Well,
I can't.
I hope for
Can't
your
help it.
outcome, and I hope the Nets destroy the Lakers if that's the case here. But I'm gonna go with the
I
Suns.
think they would too. I think they would, man. I'm not in that matchup. Like taking my fandom out of it. I'm still picking the Nets in that scenario,
Okay, cool.
regardless of whoever comes out of the West.
All right. Anything else you want to jump on? Well, you brought up DeMar DeRozan, and you say he's playing like an MVP. He does deserve. But what's the funny part is? He might not even be in the top three. He might not even end up in the
It's
top three.
fair because Jokic is
Jokic
that
is
man
having it.
is incredible.
He's playing without his other two best players, and no one's talking about it. He's not playing with Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. And they're the sixth seed in the West. And when he gets off the court, that team obviously is nowhere near the same with him on the team. To me, he's my number one. Embiid is probably number two. Giannis is probably number three, and DeMar DeRozan is probably number four. And it's crazy that he's having such an incredible season that he's like number four to me in MVP race right now.
Giannis number four.
No, I got DeMar's in number four.
Oh,
I got
DeMar
Giannis.
Rosen.
I got Giannis number three.
Okay.
And he's having. I'm just wondering. I think at some point I want to ask the question: is DeMar DeRozan having himself a Julius Randle experience? In the sense that Julius Randle he developed into a star last year, right? Julius Randle was playing out of his mind. Then he went back to old Julius Randle this year. Like, as a matter of fact, he's underperforming. He's not even playing to his old standards. I'm wondering if DeMar DeRozan, is this going to be his out-of-body experience? This is the ultimate year that he's putting together, and he's going back to, maybe the Spurs years or Toronto
So
years.
I just because I think what Greg Popovich demanded of him, you know, like I always try to imagine LeBron playing for the Spurs with Greg Popovich as head coach, and I was like,
It
it
wouldn't
it
work.
wouldn't work because there's no way he would let him handle the ball as much as he does. There's no
I think he
way.
would. I think
Like
Papa say, "Go ahead, go do your thing." I don't think he.
I,
I think he gives
I don't
LeBron
think.
that respect. He doesn't give DeMar DeRozan that respect. That's the problem.
Mhm, mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I feel like it's different though between like Julius Randle and DeMar DeRozan. It's a little bit different. I feel like DeMar DeRozan was a little bit underappreciated in this league
Oh yeah.
as far as his skill set. Like even though it's a little old school, the mid range games you don't see that too much in the league anymore. So
I want to say this now before it gets twisted. I've never thought Julius Randle has the body of work or has been as good as DeMar DeRozan's career. DeMar DeRozan's had a much longer, body of work and being consistent and being a scorer in this league. So let's not act like I'm. The only reason I brought up Julius Randle is because Julius Randle had an body experience. Like he was at another level last year. He's never played close to that. And it seems like DeMar DeRozan's playing at another level that he's never hit before. That's the only reason I brought that up. But obviously, DeMar DeRozan, I have more confidence that he can do this for another year or two because he has a long history of body of work that he's been a scorer in this league. And maybe this is the system that flourishes him to be that guy. So I have more confidence in that. I just said it later on in the future. I want to talk about that as a conversation. I don't think right now is the moment. I don't want to diminish what I guess I already diminished what he's doing this year, but it's insane. And he's on a tear right now. I think he's got 9 or 10 straight games or over 30 plus points, shooting at least 55%. He's on a ridiculous pace right now. And like you say, he's not playing with Lonzo Ball. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because with him having the ball more often, good things are happening for him. So sometimes adding a player can take away from your crazy streak or your zone. And he's in an absolute zone right now. And he does deserve MVP conversations that people are having, that we're having, and he deserves some of that. He deserves a lot of love. And everything is just crazy this year. Like the tear that he's on. Right now, he's not even in my top 3. Can that change? Is he really close to being my top 3? Yeah. Really close. Really close.
Mm-hmm.
But it just shows you how much talent there is in the league at this point and how deep teams are at this point.
Yeah, yeah, this is going to be a fun playoffs for sure. I can't wait to see it, but I would really like to see DeMar DeRozan actually make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I would love to see that matchup with him or whoever makes it,
Well, it's
Bucks or
gonna be
Nets.
it's gonna be it could be a strong possibility. Like I said, the Bulls. Why not? Why wouldn't the Bulls be there? You know what I mean? Obviously injuries and all stuff like that, but they have the talent. They've shown some things this year to be there.
Would you pick Philadelphia over would you pick the Bulls over Philadelphia if they're in the meet in the playoffs?
No, I would probably lean towards Philadelphia because they do have the le- legitimate 1 and 2 superstars. I guess you could say they got 2 superstars, right? And DeMar
Right.
DeRozan's playing like a superstar this year, so that's another. So it's 2 versus 1. But then again, Zach LaVine, he drops 20. Like it's a pretty close matchup, and the Bulls will probably have more shooting than the Philadelphia 76ers. I can understand that, but who's gonna? I mean, who can stop Embiid? There's nobody in the league that can stop. Can anybody in the Bulls slow him down? They're like that. He's the expert. Like Embiid can take over. That's the thing here. So that's the reason I would go with that. But it's not a shock. It's not like if the Bulls win it, I'm not going there like, oh my God, look at the Bulls came out of nowhere. It's not a shock to me. Like that's how close I think the East is. So would you be shocked if Philadelphia won that series?
No,
Like,
no,
why would you? Like,
probably not.
if you got Embiid, like you got a shot.
That's yeah, yeah. Those two super and James Harden, like
The only thing
he can
is
play.
they're losing. They don't have as much shoot. They're lacking in space. That's the only thing with Philadelphia. They just don't have enough. They don't have enough shooting in a sense to see what happens with that.
I'll be really curious to see how they how they play defense with James Harden on the floor. Because historically he's not been the greatest of defenders in the world.
Uh huh.
So I'm curious to see like who becomes that guy. Is it these or do they send Tobias Harris out to try and stop like a DeMar Rosen or Zach LaVine?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
We're gonna see what's going. It's gonna be exciting playoffs. Definitely is. Can't wait for that. Anything else you want to get into before we wrap it up here? Something I usually don't do. I don't usually wrap it up.
One thing. All right, so we got the Green Bay Packers offensive coordinator as our head coach now.
Yeah.
But I'm already starting to feel like it's a failure because it looks like Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay. So what is
Well,
this?
I don't know.
So
I
what
don't
is
think.
this?
I don't know if he is staying. There's no. I just don't see this working out. I don't see them giving him $50 million. If not, that the team is going to be. Are you serious? You ain't going to have no. If you're complaining about not having weapons, Devontae Adams is not going to stay in Green Bay if you're giving Aaron Rodgers. You're going to pay. So what you're going to tell me is you're going to pay Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams $70 million, just 2 players.
Will the franchise tag, will that take him up to 18 or
Well,
20?
I don't know. 19, 18, 19. Okay, so 68, 69 million dollars. Let's go with 69 because it's a better number.
And a
Uh,
team they still need they need pieces of defense. They need
that's my
us
point. That's why I don't think that I
like,
don't think
like
he's.
I,
I think Aaron Rodgers is saying this. Aaron Rodgers is saying, "You trade me or you pay me $50 million because so I'm only going to if I'm going to stay here, I might as well make stupid money because I'm not going to win anything."
are you saying that they're asking him, that's his trade request, right?
I
So
think
that's his trade request. Give me $50 million
or trade me.
or I'm out.
I'm
Or
out.
trade me.
I think
Which
that's
essentially means just trade me
yeah,
anyway.
because that's what I think. That's what he's saying. If I'm gonna stay here, pay me in crazy. You got to pay me. You got to pay me the best because I'm not staying here just to lose in the playoffs. I might as well get paid for it.
And that damn farewell speech he gave on Instagram to them. That was the weirdest thing.
Well, I didn't pay
Like
attention to
just,
it at all. I don't give a shit about what anybody posts
yeah,
on
you
Instagram.
shouldn't. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. Especially with him. It's not even with anybody. It's him. Like he did this whole dog and pony show last year, and then he winds up jumping on a plane and jumping and playing for the Packers again.
Well, they got him. They got him Randall
So
Cobb. So this year,
disgruntled.
you want him to jump on the plane? It's only going to cost you $50 million for the year. That's it.
I'd rather go after Watson.
Oh,
I'd rather go after Watson, to be honest with you.
I'm just saying.
Or draft Malik Willis, who
Well,
looks like a
we'll see what's going
project,
to
but
happen.
whatever.
I don't think he's going to be a Packer. That's my prediction on that. I just don't see him ending up being a Packer. Because I don't see the $50 million happening. And if they give him $50 million, you could throw Jordan Love. That's it. You could throw. They don't believe in him. They don't believe if you're paying Aaron Rodgers, 37 years old, $50 million. You don't believe in Jordan Love.
What's that? What was that, man? Why, like, if you were gonna draft a quarterback, why not go after a rookie quarterback that looked like he was gonna be an
Listen,
instant success, like
I got no.
Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow or anything? They traded up to get Jordan Love.
Well,
What is
my
that?
argument. First of all, it don't bother me too much that they drafted Jordan Love because based off of their history, I'm sure a lot of people were questioning Mark. Why would you trade? I mean, why would you draft Aaron Rodgers? Why would you draft Aaron Rodgers when you got Brett Favre? And that worked out beautifully.
You know what I don't see? If you were Aaron Rodgers and they drafted Jordan Love,
Oh no, you be
well,
of
you
course you people. That's why Brett Favre was tight. That's of course.
what? Like what?
Listen, I think both could be true. If you're Aaron Rodgers, you should be upset, or a Packers fan, you should be upset. But like, you know what? The fuck are we doing here? We have a Super Bowl contending team here. Why are we drafting a quarterback? At the same time, you're like, well, shit, it worked out last time. So I understand the argument on both sides. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, give me my $50 million. I'm tired of this. Give me my $50 million. Devontae Adams, give him his $19 million. I just don't see it happening.
The only thing I'll say about that too, though, Aaron Rodgers was Aaron Rodgers coming out of college. Like the NFL pretty much knew he was going to be a starter in the NFL.
Well, he fell to number.
Jordan Love was not Aaron Rodgers coming out of college.
Not a lot of people believe my man Aaron Rodgers dropped to 24. Was it 24 in the draft? That's a long way. That's a lot. The Jets could have drafted him. The Broncos could have drafted him. But no, what we do? I don't know what we did. I don't even remember. Okay, Alex Smith went number 1. So, all right.
Jeez.
So let's not act like Aaron Rodgers was a surefire thing. And if that's the case, there was 20. Matter of fact, including the number 1 pick, that was 23 mistakes. Anyway, it is what it is. So we're done. This is going our first episode on the reboot of Idiot Sports Talk. And if you want to join us for the live conversation so we can hear from you, read your messages, and maybe taking some calls, check out the Twitch channel at Idiot Sports Talk. Follow me on Twitter at Idiot Ezra. James in the future will have a Twitter. We'll find out. We're trying to, negotiate that. He's being Aaron Rodgers right now. He's dropping posts, but he won't join. I'm just trying to make him join the team, the blue team over here, the bird team. out here with the Twitter. We'll see what we can work out here. Greg,
We'll
I
get it done.
mean James. If you understand why I continue to call him Gregory throughout this podcast, because that's his middle name, and that's what I've been calling him for 20 years out here in these streets. So I apologize. We might call him Teddy Grams. We might call him. He might have a lot of different names out here in these streets. Thanks for joining me. We're gonna do this soon again.
Yep, most definitely.
We're gonna have some big
A lot of
things.
fun.
We're gonna have some big things on Idiot Sports Talk. You can also check out the audio podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever your favorite podcast you listen to. Idiot Sports Talk will be available, and join us for the future episodes. I appreciate everybody's love, and buenos nachos, everyone, especially you too, James.
Good night. Ice T, big up.